Welcome back to NTV News First Edition. It is time for our regular Thursday feature, Get Psyched with Dr. Janine Hubbard. And it is so good to see you again. My fingers are crossed that once we move to the next alert level that maybe we might be able to get you back in here in person.
I was going to say thank you, folks, for suffering through my lack of technology skills and all of my experiments along the way here. I can't wait to get back.
So it's February, and this is Psychology Month, and there is a question that many people have wondered. I've wondered myself, and we're going to go through all of them. But the first one is, what is a psychologist?
Really good question, and one that you're quite right, people get very confused about. In a nutshell, it's someone with either master's or doctoral level training in psychology. There's a whole number of different fields of psychology that we can train in. They are a licensed, registered professional. So the title of psychologist is restricted to only people who are registered with the licensing board. That means we're accountable, so if people aren't happy with what we've done, there is someone that they can speak to. Psychologists in particular are involved in assessment and diagnosis and treatment of a whole wide range of both mental health issues, but also we work with medical issues, we work with neurodevelopmental issues, we work with trauma. So we work in a variety of areas, and one of the things that we're specifically trained in is evidence-based therapies. So those tend to be a little bit longer. In some cases, there's some short ones, but they're very much based on research and evidence, which is why we have to do so many research and stats courses. Yeah.
So then how is a psychologist different from a psychiatrist?
Again, I'm going to give you the quick answer. Psychiatrists are medical physicians who then receive additional training in mental health and mental health disorders. They go to school for about the same amount of time as a psychologist, so about 10, 12 years when you include all the advanced training. Yep. And they are able to prescribe medication, which is something that a psychologist were not able to do. And again, they're involved in both assessment and treatment of those disorders.
Okay, so how are these professions then, psychologists, psychiatrists, different from counselors?
This is where the biggest confusion comes in. In this province, counselor is not a restricted title. So psychiatrists and psychologists have to be regulated and licensed. Unfortunately, anyone can hang out a shingle and say, I'm a counselor. And it's really hard because there are licensed ones, like social workers, for example, who have very rigid training and registration. But then the rest of it is very unregulated. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't provide excellent service. A lot of people train in very specific areas like marital therapy, family therapy, addictions work. So there are some fabulous counselors out there. But the caveat that I give people is make sure you ask. Ask about training, ask about credentials. You want some accountability that if you're not happy with services you're receiving, there is a licensing body behind the person that will make sure that they're providing appropriate services.
And I guess a final take-home message for somebody who's looking for help?
Well, remember, there's no one profession that is better or worse than another. It's all about we provide very complementary skills to each other. In fact, one of the reasons we work so well in multidisciplinary teams, because while there may be a little bit of overlap, we each have our own unique areas of specialty and training. And so it's really important, if you're looking for services, start to figure out what is it I'm looking for and make sure you ask. Connect with the person and say, I think this is what I'm looking for. Is this something you have training in? Or is there a different discipline I should be looking for? And end of the day, lots of really skilled people out there. And it's also important to make sure you find the right fit for yourself, because ultimately that's going to be a really essential factor.
Dr. Janine Hubbard, thank you. I didn't know any of that, so thank you so much for clearing that up for me and clearing that up for so many of our viewers, I'm sure, who've been wondering the same thing. Fingers crossed that next week you'll be standing right behind me in the newsroom, but I'll get to see you in person.
Absolutely, and happy Psychology Month, everybody. Stay tuned for lots more psychology information this month.